Baylor coach Scott Drew is with us now. And, Coach, when you're comfortable, you can start us off with some general comments about your team.
Well, it's great to be here. It is a little chilly, so hopefully everyone's awake today. But coming back from New York with Coach Huggins was a great opportunity just to talk about the Big 12 and the success we've had. And it's truly remarkable, 3 straight years, different teams in the championship game, first conference to ever have that. Since 2002, 60% of the league, being in Final Fours more than any league. I know coaches, we all feel our leagues are the best, but the statistics behind it, the net, the RPI, 6 of the last 9 years, the top-ranked conference. And thank you for everyone that's covered the Big 12 and helped promote just the great things happen in the Big 12. So proud to be in the best conference in the country and be a part of that. As far as this year's team goes, I know, like everybody, you feel pretty good about your team till you take that first loss, and then there's a lot of things you wish you'd have worked on or spent time practicing on. So we'll find out a lot more about our team as we do our scrimmages and get in the first couple games. But really like the returning upperclassmen. I think they've done a great job leadership-wise. As far as the new guys that really bought in and really been great additions. The chemistry's been tremendous, and our staff really enjoys going to practice every day, working with our guys because they want to get better. So couldn't ask for more, and we've stayed relatively injury-free in the preseason practices, which is huge coming off a year last year where we had so many injuries, starting with Langston Love out for the year with the ACL in a scrimmage, and then you lose L.J. Cryer, your leading scorer at the time, and then you lose Jonathan Chamwa-Chachwa, co-defensive player of the year. So hopefully we can keep that trend going where we don't get anybody injured for the rest of the year like we've done in the non-conference.
Okay, please raise your hand, and we'll have Rachel or Christopher find you, and please remember to give us your name and your affiliation. We're on the back row in the middle, Coach.
Kendall Couch, Sigma 365. Scott, Adam returns set to take over at point guard. What have you seen from him this summer?
Well, Adam's somebody that we all know he's a great shooter, scorer, but he's going to have an opportunity to show that he can run a team. And we've always had, in the last few years, multiple guys that play the point, and that's been effective for us. And so he can play on and off the ball, but he really takes care of the ball, and he really does a great job pitching ahead. So in transition, he doesn't over-dribble, he doesn't hold it. So guys like playing with someone that moves the ball like he does, and coaches like a guy that not only moves it but takes care of it. So he's done both so far.
We're going to go to your left, Coach.
Hey, Coach. Matthew Poston, Heartland College Sports. You mentioned Langston earlier. Didn't play last year, but he's had a year in your system, so he knows how things work. How do you feel like he fits into the different pieces you have coming in this year?
Yeah, Langston is one of those guys everybody loves. He's a tremendous competitor, but he brings people. He's a connector. He brings people together. Everybody, upperclassmen, new players, staff have such respect for him, and he just got cleared a little over a month ago, so it's going to take him some time to get used to getting back and playing and competing. Just because you're back doesn't mean you're really back. And what I mean by that is he got injured in our first scrimmage last year, so he never had a chance to play in the game, put on a Baylor uniform in front of a crowd. So I'm sure it's going to take him a couple games, weeks, months to continue to get the rust off, but he's somebody that we're really excited to coach, and we know he's going to have a big impact in our program this year and in the future.
Okay, we're going to go to that third row over here to your right, Coach, then we'll come back to the front row.
Scott, Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. You've been in the league long enough that you're probably way ahead of me on this question, but it's the first time all 4 Texas schools have been ranked in the AP poll in the preseason in the top 25. I guess, what does that say of just about the growth of those 4 programs? You know, how tough is it in the state of Texas, and what's it say about basketball, I guess, in the state?
Well, it's great to see you, Chuck, and if we're as tough as you, we're in good shape. And I think the reason all us coaches are successful right now is because there's great players in the state, and that starts with high school, AAU, the development people have spent toward basketball in the state of Texas, and then we're blessed to be at schools that have put money into resources, facilities where players, great players, want to go to school at, and then we know that each and every night in the Big 12 it's a war, but in the state itself, couldn't be more proud of just how far the state's come in the last 20 years basketball-wise. You have several teams that are ranked, like you said, but I mean, you could have multiple teams in a Final Four from a state. So it's a great time to play basketball in the state of Texas for sure.
Coach, to your left on the front row.
Coach, Jamie Plunkett with Frogs today. When you look at the upward trajectory of some of the other programs in the conference, TCU, Oklahoma State now off probation, do you get excited when you look at the schedule in conference and see just challenge after challenge after challenge?
Yeah, I don't know about get excited. Probably you don't sleep much, but as far as, again, that's what makes the Big 12 the best conference in the country statistically, analytically, and will continue. I know with when Texas and OU leave, Ken Palm Analytics with the new schools coming in project us to be the #1 conference still based on numbers. So if you players want to play against the best, coaches want to coach against the best. I know when I first came into the league, I learned so much from coaches that were in the league, from Eddie Sutton, Rick Barnes to Bob Knight, and I know each and every night you get better going against the Big 12 coaches. They're great coaches and they run great programs, so it makes you improve each and every year.
Coach, in the middle in the second row.
Hi, Coach. Alec Bussey, EMA Online. You spent about 20 years with Jerome Tang on staff in Waco. Can you explain why you think he was ready to take over a head coaching opportunity, and especially at Kansas State? Well,
first, he turned down several opportunities, didn't pursue several opportunities, and he's a great Christian man, and he prayed about it, and when he felt like God led him somewhere, he went. And but he's been more than ready for a long time. It's just he didn't feel the calling to go, and he's going to do a great job at K-State. I know no one's going to cheer louder and harder for him than I will, except for when we play. He's done a great job already with bringing in a class that he did, and the Hang with Tang social media. I mean, he's great for a community, great for a school. He's a great teammate. I mean, he cheers so loud and hard for all the other sports. He did a remarkable job at everywhere he's been, and Baylor wouldn't have the success we had without him. So grateful for him and his friendship, and we'll always be brothers for life, and again, we'll always cheer for each other when we're not playing.
Okay, our last two questions. First one will be over here to the left on the fourth row.
Sam Lance with zagsblog.com. It was reported sometime last week that the NBA might be moving the draft age back to 18. Could I just get your thoughts on that, and then how it maybe will affect your approach to recruiting?
Well, I think coaches nowadays do such a great job in adjusting what we do and how we do it. And Coach Huggins is a Hall of Famer, and we've learned from him how he just adjusts his style of play year in and year out. But same thing with the rules. I mean, if it goes to 18, obviously guys that are projected to be pros, we won't spend all the time recruiting them if they're not going to come to college. At the same time, why basketball is at an all-time high is you look worldwide, there's so many great players, so many people play it that there's so much parity, and just because somebody's ranked top 30, I mean that's what makes basketball what it is. We've had numerous zero-star guys, people that weren't ranked, from Torian Prince to Royce O'Neal to Pierre Jackson. I mean, that got to the NBA, the Freddie Gillespie's. So it doesn't matter what you are ranked or projected, it's how you continue to develop and improve. And there's a number of good players that our programs will continue to bring in, and our fans will love cheering for. So college basketball is going to be in a great position regardless of whatever happens in the NBA.
Coach, our last question's here to your right in the fourth row.
Hey, Scott, Blair Kirchhoff with the Kansas City Star. You've been around for a long time, and the league has had its share of draft picks and, teams that have advanced into the, in the NCAA tournament, great coaches. But what do rings from your team in Kansas this past year, how does that even elevate the status of the league?
Well, I think that's a great question, and I remember as a coach, I was always frustrated because since 2002, we have so many teams going to the Final Four, and we know the depth, and we know the net, and we know the RPI rankings and the Big 12s at that level. But you would hear the knock, well, but not enough national championships or different teams that can win a national championship. You have good teams, but not enough national contenders. And then in the last 3 years being the only conference and to have 3 different teams in the national championship game, and very easily could have been 3 different champions. But to win the last game does mean a lot, and it does mean a lot for the Big 12. And I think you've done a tremendous job covering the Big 12 for a lot of years and helping the league grow, and thank you for your support. But it's a little easier for you to back it up and say how good the Big 12 is when you win the final game. So, again, it's great to be a part of the Big 12, and thank you all for what you do for the Big 12.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck to you.
We're done, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. You guys have a good one.